So right now, literally, with every single swallow you take, you are sending this massive river of, up to 100 billion microbes straight down your throat,
Yeah, directly into your digestive tract.
which is just wild to think about.
It really is.
So welcome to the deep dive. Today we are looking at a really fascinating stack of medical texts, research papers, and some emerging scientific literature about what researchers are now calling your body's second gut.
Right, the second gut.
And our primary mission today, for you listening, is to figure out if the way we've all been taught to care for our mouths has actually been unwittingly poisoning this crucial ecosystem our entire lives.
Yeah, and it is a massive paradigm shift.
Yeah.
For generations, the conventional wisdom has viewed the mouth in purely mechanical terms.
Right, like a wood chipper or something.
Exactly. You treat it like a piece of machinery. You've got teeth for grinding, the jaw for power, the tongue just, moving things
It's
around.
just a physical entryway.
Right. It's viewed as this chewing station that occasionally gets dirty and just needs to be scrubbed and sanitized. But the sources we're looking at today completely dismantle that utilitarian view.
Yeah, they really do.
Because we are talking about the oral microbiome, which is this sprawling, living, incredibly delicate balance of trillions of microorganisms. Bacteria, fungi, other microbes. They are constantly interacting on your teeth, your tongue, your cheeks, and even just within your saliva.
Okay, let's unpack this, because for practically my entire life, the ultimate goal of oral care has been this kind of absolute scorched earth eradication.
Oh, absolutely.
We've been sold this narrative by mouthwash commercials and toothpaste ads that a healthy mouth is a sterile mouth.
Yeah, the whole killed 99.9% of germs mentality.
Exactly. We've been trained to just nuke everything.
Which is biologically impossible, and frankly, it's counterproductive. The source material asks us to conceptualize the oral microbiome as a carefully maintained garden.
Okay, Gart.
Right, so the beneficial bacteria are the healthy plants, the deep-rooted shrubs, and the flowers. And they naturally keep the weeds, which represent the harmful disease-causing bacteria, under control.
Gotcha.
And the reality that most people really struggle to accept is that your mouth naturally contains both good and potentially harmful bacteria from the moment you're born.
Wait, really, from day one?
From day one,
Hmm.
you cannot escape the weeds entirely. They are native to the environment.
Okay, I have to push back a little here, because if the weeds are native, why wouldn't I just want to pave over the entire garden? If I use a really harsh alcohol-based mouthwash that just nukes everything, aren't I at least guaranteeing the bad guys are dead?
Well, what's fascinating here is what happens the day after you pave the garden.
Okay.
When you indiscriminately wipe out the entire bacterial population, you aren't leaving behind a pristine, sterile environment. You are leaving behind a biological vacuum.
Oh, nature hates a vacuum.
Exactly. And in nature, weeds always grow back way faster than delicate flowers.
Ah, I see.
So when you constantly nuke the ecosystem, the harmful bacteria repopulate so much faster, and there aren't any beneficial bacteria left there to keep them in check. Over time, this leads to a condition researchers call oral dysbiosis.
Dysbiosis, meaning the ecosystem has just completely tipped out of balance and the weeds have overrun the garden.
Correct. And the most alarming part, detailed in the texts, is that this imbalance happens incredibly gradually.
Like you wouldn't even notice it.
You wouldn't. You might be brushing diligently every single morning and night, fundamentally believing you have great oral hygiene, while completely unknowingly allowing conditions in your mouth that actively favor the harmful bacteria over the beneficial ones.
That is slightly terrifying. I could be doing everything I was taught to do and still be slowly losing this turf war.
Exactly.
But this brings us to why this matters beyond just trying to avoid a cavity or, a lecture from the dentist. The research texts refer to this ecosystem as the second gut. And when I hear the word gut, I immediately think of systemic health, like digestion, the immune system, inflammation.
And researchers use that term very intentionally. The oral microbiome shares striking similarities with the gut microbiome, which, has obviously dominated wellness science over the last decade or so.
For sure.
Both of these ecosystems contain massive, incredibly diverse populations of microbes. Both serve as a frontline defense for your immune system. And both are heavily dictated by your daily lifestyle and dietary choices.
Okay.
But more importantly, they're physically and functionally connected.
So what does this all mean for the listener? I mean, if the mouth is this microbial garden, it's a garden with a water slide flowing straight down into the stomach.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So if I have a slight imbalance in my mouth, like if I've got that low-grade oral dysbiosis going on, am I basically swallowing an unbalanced toxic ecosystem all day long?
In short, yes. The mouth is the literal gateway to the digestive tract. Your saliva is a constant transport mechanism. It's moving those billions of microbes down into your stomach and your intestines 20/47.
Wait, I always assumed stomach acid just acts as this massive incinerator. Doesn't the stomach just burn up whatever bacteria we happen to swallow?
A lot of it, yeah, but certainly not all of it.
Really?
Yeah, the digestive tract is resilient, sure, but certain resilient strains of oral bacteria absolutely survive the stomach acid, and they can actually colonize in the gut.
Wow.
But even beyond the physical bacteria surviving, there's the issue of inflammation.
Okay.
When you have dysbiosis in the mouth, your gums become inflamed, and the harmful bacteria produce toxins that enter your bloodstream directly through the microvessels in your mouth.
Just going straight into the blood.
Straight in. And the scientific community is now heavily researching how this constant drip of localized oral inflammation triggers systemic inflammatory responses elsewhere in the entire body.
That's incredible.
So a healthy mouth isn't just this isolated compartment. Yeah. It's a foundational pillar of your overall wellness, sitting right alongside things like nutrition, exercise, and sleep.
So if these microbes are constantly heading into the body and impacting our systemic health like that, I really want to understand what the good bacteria are actually doing to earn their keep before they leave the mouth.
Sure.
Like, what physically makes a beneficial bacteria beneficial?
Well, the sources break their job description down into 4 critical functions.
Okay, well, let's hear them.
The first one is maintaining fresh breath.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't just about, masking the smell of garlic from lunch.
Right.
Beneficial bacteria actively reduce the growth of specific harmful microbes that produce what are called volatile sulfur compounds, or VSCs.
Volatile sulfur compounds. So when someone has terrible morning breath, they aren't just smelling leftover food particles.
No, they're smelling biological exhaust.
Oh, gross.
It is. When harmful anaerobic bacteria break down proteins in your mouth, they literally excrete sulfur gas. It is a waste product.
Yikes.
But the beneficial bacteria actively suppress those specific sulfur-producing strains.
Got it.
Then the second function is supporting the normal, healthy tissue of your gums. So by maintaining a balanced local pH, they prevent that chronic low-grade irritation that eventually leads to gingivitis.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then the third function, and arguably the most crucial one, is protecting the actual physical surfaces of your teeth.
How exactly do they protect the enamel? Are they, like, forming a microscopic shield, or is it some kind of chemical reaction?
It actually relies on a biological principle called competitive exclusion.
Competitive exclusion.
Bacteria don't just float freely in your mouth. They prefer to attach to surfaces and build these sticky structures called biofilms.
Which is plaque.
Exactly. We commonly know this as plaque. Now, we've been taught all plaque is evil, but there is actually healthy plaque.
Wait, healthy plaque?
Yeah. The beneficial bacteria build their own biofilms on your teeth. They're literally occupying the physical real estate and consuming the available nutrients.
Oh, I see.
And by taking up that space, they physically block the acid-producing, cavity-causing bacteria from attaching to the enamel.
Okay, it sounds like the beneficial bacteria are basically microscopic bouncers.
Bouncers, I like that.
Yeah, like they take up all the space in an exclusive club, they stand shoulder to shoulder against the walls, and they eat all the appetizers so the bad guys can't get in, they can't find a place to sit, and eventually they just starve and get washed away.
That club analogy works perfectly, especially if you add one more element. The cleanup crew.
Okay.
The bouncers are holding the line and occupying the space, sure. But the fourth function of these beneficial bacteria is that they work in tandem with your saliva. And saliva is the true unsung hero of the oral ecosystem.
Right. So if the good bacteria are the bouncers keeping the bad guys off the walls, the saliva is the cleanup crew sweeping the floors at the end of the night, taking out the trash.
And repairing the damage to the building.
Oh, really?
Saliva is incredibly complex. I mean, it naturally washes away loose food particles, yes. But it also acts as a really powerful buffer.
Against acid.
Right. When harmful bacteria do manage to consume sugars, they produce acid. That acid drops the pH of your mouth and begins stripping minerals out of your tooth enamel.
Not good.
It's a process called demineralization. But your saliva contains specialized enzymes to neutralize that acid and bring the pH back to neutral.
Okay.
And furthermore, saliva is packed with calcium and phosphate, which it actively deposits back into the tooth enamel to repair that microscopic damage.
Uh-huh.
It's this ongoing cycle of demineralization and remineralization.
Okay, but this brings up a huge logical gap for me.
What's that?
If saliva is this miracle fluid constantly repairing the teeth, and the beneficial bacteria are acting as these amazing bouncers, and I am brushing my teeth every day, how are the weeds ever winning?
That's the big question.
What are we unknowingly doing that sabotages this incredible natural defense system?
Well, the text identifies several major lifestyle disruptors that essentially fire the cleanup crew and feed the weeds.
Okay.
The first one is obvious: high-sugar diets. But the mechanism is what really matters here. It's not necessarily the total volume of sugar you eat. It is the frequency of exposure.
Frequency over volume.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you eat a massive piece of cake in 5 minutes, your saliva can buffer that acid spike within about an hour.
Okay, but if I'm sipping on a soda all afternoon...
Exactly. If you slowly sip a sugary coffee or snack on sticky candies over the course of 3 hours, you are keeping the mouth in a constant acidic state of demineralization. You never give the saliva a chance to actually repair the enamel.
You are basically keeping the club flooded with acid so the bouncers drown and the cleanup crew can't even get in the door.
Precisely. And the acid-producing bacteria just thrive in that low pH environment while the beneficial ones die off.
Wow.
Then you have poor oral hygiene. Like skipping flossing allows those biofilms to mature into hardened tartar in those hidden spaces between the teeth where the toothbrush simply can't reach.
Which creates safe havens for the harmful bacteria.
Exactly. And tobacco use fundamentally alters the oxygen levels in the mouth. It reduces the overall diversity of your microbiome and actively favors anaerobic bacteria.
And those are the ones that cause severe gum disease and excrete those gross sulfur compounds we talked about earlier.
You got it.
Okay, all of those make intuitive sense. Sugar, neglecting hygiene, and smoking are pretty universally known to be bad for your teeth.
Right.
But the next disruptor mentioned in the research really caught my eye because it has absolutely nothing to do with oral care.
Medication.
Yes. The text mentions allergy pills, blood pressure medications, antidepressants, and over-the-counter sleep aids.
Yeah, this one surprises a lot of people. The underlying mechanism here is critical to understand. A known side effect of literally hundreds of common medications is that they inhibit the salivary glands.
Oh.
They reduce saliva production, which causes chronic dry mouth.
They lay off the cleanup crew.
Exactly. When you drastically reduce the flow of saliva, you lose your primary buffering agent and your remineralization tool. The pH just stays acidic longer, the food particles stick around, and the harmful microbes are given this massive competitive advantage.
That's crazy.
Now, I have to say, the source material provides a very strict, crucial caveat here.
Right, I saw that.
You should never, under any circumstances, stop taking a prescribed medication without consulting your doctor.
Well, of course, but honestly, it feels incredibly unfair to the listener.
It does.
It is just wild to think that taking a sleep aid just to get some rest for a big meeting or popping an antihistamine because the pollen count is high can inadvertently rot your teeth just because it dries out your mouth.
Yeah.
How is anyone supposed to win this battle if every day necessary medications are actively working against their ecosystem?
Well, we connect this to the bigger picture. This is exactly why understanding the underlying mechanism of the microbiome is so empowering.
Okay, how so?
If you don't know why your mouth is dry, you are just a passive victim to the damage. But if you understand that a specific medication slows down your salivary glands, and you know this means your natural cleanup crew is understaffed, you're no longer helpless.
You can do something about it.
Right. You can actively compensate. You can increase your water intake dramatically. You can use specialized mouth rinses designed specifically for dry mouth. And you can just be extra vigilant about avoiding frequent sugar snacks because you know you don't have the saliva to buffer the acid.
You adapt your strategy because you understand the battlefield.
Exactly.
The sources also point out excessive alcohol consumption and frequent antibiotic use as major disruptors. I imagine antibiotics are like a nuclear bomb to this whole ecosystem.
Oh, they are. While antibiotics are absolutely vital and life-saving when they're medically necessary, they cannot distinguish between the harmful weeds and the beneficial flowers.
They just wipe out everything.
Everything. They wipe out massive swaths of the oral microbiome, and rebuilding a balanced, diverse ecosystem after a round of antibiotics takes significant time and a lot of intentional effort.
So Armed with all of this somewhat daunting knowledge about how easily the balance is disrupted, how do we practically support this invisible ecosystem?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right, like how do we reclaim the garden without adding a hyper-complex, 3-hour routine to our mornings?
The foundation really relies on the classic habits we all know,
Uh,
but executed with a totally new understanding of why we're doing them.
Okay.
So you still brush twice a day and floss daily. But remember, the goal isn't sterile eradication anymore. The goal is managing the physical biofilms.
So you're just breaking up the bad condos so the good guys can build their own.
Exactly. You are breaking up the sticky plaque so that the acid-producing bacteria can't organize and dig into the animal, which gives your beneficial bouncers the room to reestablish themselves.
Love that.
Next is aggressive hydration. Drinking plenty of plain water is just the easiest, most direct way to support saliva production and help mechanically wash away debris.
I'll see you now.
Then, you adjust the diet, limit the frequency of sugar exposure like we talked about. The texts heavily recommend leaning into nutrient-dense whole foods,
Like what?
crunchy vegetables, fibers, fruits, nuts, dairy products. These foods actually require intense chewing, which physically stimulates the salivary glands,
Oh, cool.
and they don't leave sticky, acidic residues behind. Also, avoid tobacco entirely and maintain regular dental visits so a professional can remove the calcified tartar that your toothbrush physically cannot scrape off.
Okay, so that is the baseline maintenance, managing the plaque, keeping the saliva flowing. But here's where it gets really interesting. The
Yeah.
research texts introduce a concept that completely flips the traditional narrative of subtractive oral care. It introduces oral probiotics.
This is a rapidly expanding and honestly fascinating area of ongoing clinical research.
Because my entire life, oral care has been entirely subtractive. Brush away the plaque, scrape away the tartar, kill the germs. But oral probiotics represent this totally additive approach.
Right.
It's a shift from just scrubbing the surfaces to actively seeding the mouth with beneficial bacteria.
To go back to the source's main analogy, it is the difference between simply pulling weeds versus actively planting new flowers to choke out the weeds.
Wow, yeah.
Interest in oral probiotics has surged precisely because researchers want proactive ways to support competitive exclusion.
So these are what, supplements?
Yeah, they're specially formulated supplements designed to introduce specific strains of beneficial bacteria directly into the oral cavity.
And the source material actually specifically highlights a product called Adem Naturals ProvaDent as a case study for this approach.
Right. According to the manufacturer data detailed in the text, ProvaDent is formulated with specific probiotic strains combined with nutrient-rich ingredients. The stated clinical goal is to support the mouth's natural immune defenses, promote that balanced microbial environment, and actively contribute to fresher breath and healthier gums by really reinforcing those beneficial populations.
So I'm basically sending in highly trained reinforcements for my microscopic bouncers.
Pretty much.
But let me ask you this, because this is where my mind goes. Does this mean I can eat a massive bag of sour gummy worms, pop a ProvaDent probiotic, and just magically avoid all the consequences? Can I just supplement my way out of bad habits?
Absolutely not, and that is a very dangerous trap to fall into.
I figured.
The texts are explicitly clear on this. Oral probiotics, whether it's ProvaDent or any other specific formulation, are designed to be a complement to your mechanical routine, never a replacement.
Right.
You have to understand the biological hurdles of colonization here. It is incredibly difficult for new bacteria to establish themselves in a mouth that is constantly flushing saliva down the throat, especially if the harmful bacteria have already built thick, mature biofilms.
So you can't just throw delicate seeds onto a concrete driveway or a patch of massive weeds and expect a beautiful garden to grow.
Exactly.
You still have to till the soil.
You still have to brush and floss to break up the harmful plaque, and you still have to control the sugar intake to avoid starving the good bacteria.
Makes sense.
But when used in conjunction with a healthy routine, taking an oral probiotic acts as a strategic ongoing reinforcement. You are consistently tilting the odds in favor of the beneficial microbes so they can slowly outcompete the harmful ones.
It makes complete sense when you view it as a living ecosystem rather than just a mechanical chewing station.
Completely.
So to bring this all together for you listening, the ultimate aha moment from today's stack of research is realizing that your mouth is this thriving, complex, invisible world. It is the second gut.
It really is.
And caring for it requires a fundamental mindset shift. We have to completely abandon the instinct for absolute eradication and move toward intentional cultivation.
Well said.
It's about balance. It's about keeping your natural cleanup crew well hydrated and making sure the microscopic bouncers have the physical space and the structural reinforcements they need to hold the line against decay and systemic inflammation.
This raises an important question, though,
Oh,
especially when we consider how the smallest daily habits compound to set the stage for our overall long-term health. We established earlier that the mouth is the primary gateway, and that we are constantly swallowing our saliva, delivering billions of those microbes down into our digestive tract 24 hours a day.
right. The nonstop microscopic water slide to the stomach.
Exactly. So if that continuous flow acts as the gatekeeper to our gut health,
Mm.
could the very first action we take in the morning fundamentally dictate our systemic health for the rest of the day?
Wait, what do you mean?
Think about the reality of your morning routine. When you wake up, your mouth has been closed for 8 hours.
Sure.
Your saliva production naturally dropped to almost zero while you slept, meaning the cleanup crew basically took the night off.
Okay, yeah.
So both the good and the bad bacteria have been rapidly multiplying in a stagnant environment all night long. Depending on your oral health, you have a massive concentrated dose of microbes just waiting in your mouth the second you wake up.
Oh, wow. I see where this is going.
Right. Whether the very first thing you do is immediately drink a sweet, highly acidic coffee, or eat a starchy bagel, or simply drink a large glass of plain water, or actively brush your teeth. Could that singular first action dictate exactly which specific microbes get massively flushed down into your digestive system?
The beneficial bouncers or the acid-producing sulfur-excreting weeds?
Exactly. Are you setting the tone for your entire body's inflammatory response before you even leave the bathroom?
Are you feeding the weeds and flushing them straight into your gut, or are you clearing the way for the flowers? That is an incredibly provocative thought, and something I'm definitely going to be evaluating tomorrow morning when I instinctively reach for that first cup of coffee.
I know I will be.
I might just want to reach for a tall glass of water first to help the cleanup crew sweep the floors and clear out the exhaust fumes from the night shift.
Probably a good idea.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the invisible garden of the second gut. Next time you look in the mirror to brush, remember, you aren't just polishing tools, you are managing a bustling, incredibly complex ecosystem that impacts your entire body. Treat it well, water the flowers, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.